before I hear.
Awesome. Yes, let's get started. 70 that's plenty of folks. Well, welcome back. I hope the home groups were energizing, and it was lovely to have a quick stretch and a acupressure eye massage with you all before we get into our next session. So this session is going to be a interactive session led by myself and AIM on network and ecosystem mapping. So if I could ask Marta to throw up the slides. And if you didn't hear the prompt at the beginning, we're asking everyone to rename yourself with your first name and the name of your startup, because we are going to put you in breakout rooms with your team if your team is on as well. And so we just need to have a sense of your grouping so we can do that. So please rename yourself if you haven't already. Awesome. Okay, so AIM, my trusty co-pilot. Should we kick it off?
Sorry, renaming. So I guess one of the things I discovered while I was helping to facilitate the home group is something that's going to be on the top of everybody's mind right now, which is so many people. It's so many smart folks in the room. There's way too many experts, which is a good thing. Then the issue is like, who do I go to for help? Like, who is within the ecosystem in the Impact Collective that I can get support on? And I think one of the classic lines as a co-founder of a co-working space for the past 10 years is everybody's problems on this call has already been solved somehow, somewhere. Somebody else has gone through the problems that you've faced and they've nailed it. It's just we don't know who they are yet. They're strangers waiting to become friends, or vice versa, friends who are currently strangers, and they are not known until maybe perhaps by the end of the program, even after Impact Collective, the program is done, and you're like, oh, if only I met you on the Impact Collective camp or during the program, my life would have been so much better and changed. So I think this is why this session is so important, because we know that people solve problems and have the solutions on this journey that we're going to go. So who can help us, and how can we surface that, uncover that, access that, connect to that sooner rather than later? So next slide. So I think we all know about ecosystem mapping, and that's to really figure out not just who's in the room and what kind of resources and expertise and profile, but also having the right relationship and the ability to be able to get on the phone, get on WhatsApp, get on the chat, and just connect. So next slide. Going about one back.
One more back.
And this is the fun activity. So I think we all know why this is important. I think one thing that's not said enough is this is a choose your own journey experience. I don't want to call it the Black Mirror experience of Accelerator, but you will pick to either be proactive and say like, hey, I am looking specifically for somebody who's done fundraising, or I'm trying to raise funding from Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation or the Bezos Foundation, or I'm looking for somebody who's built a fintech product. And we've actually heard of a few expert and founders on our program who actually took the time to read and look at every profile, which is pretty intense. But at the same time, it's, you have the Impact Collective team to be able to say, these are the people I need to find Who are they? Can you connect me to them? And your RAs, which we'll meet tomorrow, that's part of their job as well. Oh, and look at that, Moim. Thank you for keeping Moim so active. And on top of that, your business is an ecosystem. You are going to be interacting with not just the investors in a community, the experts, but so many other people who can both learn from you, benefit from you, become, you could be a vendor to another startup within the program, and you could be also supporting and providing resources and clients to another. So, so go ahead.
It really builds also on what Jackie was sharing about in storytelling, right? It is about identifying your different audiences and not just looking at them as customers necessarily, but as ambassadors. And so the more you can identify different roles within your ecosystem, the more powerful your ecosystem becomes, and they become part of your story and part of your product. So it's really interesting going from the mindset of not just a single business, but thinking of your business as an ecosystem in itself of different types of supporters, clients. And I think this group has the opportunity to be its own ecosystem of, you know, by the end of this program, very likely many of you will be supporting one another in really tangible, practical ways and developing different partnerships with one another. And we're really excited to see that. So I guess the purpose of this session, as Aim was sharing, is like, in order to best navigate all the incredible social capital that's here in this group, you need to start with, you know, some network mapping, or at least some mapping of these strengths, and also to understand what you bring to the table in this ecosystem as well. I think there's one note here around like ensuring power is balanced. So network mapping also allows you to see the diversity of your ecosystem. We're just talking about diversity earlier. Diversity really strengthens your product and service. And Josh Weil also touched on this earlier. Diversity within your teams, but also the diversity of your ecosystem can really strengthen the work that you're doing. So it allows you to see on the surface, how well have you managed to you know, diversify the types of networks and communities that you're part of. Mm-hmm. Anything else, Aim?
Yeah, I mean, this last remark is really designed just for me. You know, aim to be connected, not to be connected, but to be a connector. I have this interesting habit and tendency, especially during COVID, just to add random people on LinkedIn, just because normally I'm always at a bar, networking event, meeting new people, and I felt like, well, I'm not meeting a lot of new people. I should try to reach out. And guess what? People were way more open to it. But the problem and why they would actually accept is I didn't just say, hi, I saw your profile and it said people you may know or people you should be connected to. I took the time to look at the profile and say, okay, I think what you're doing, you know, we're in the same industry space, or we've worked on some stuff together, or I've helped the company in some way, and I like to be connected. And just also to learn more about how you're doing during COVID, and to see if there's anything me and, you know, my media company, Impact Collective, any of my resources can be of use. So I have a really crazy hit rate. I think we're at 11,000 LinkedIn friends by now. But the idea is not to just add, but to actually give first and give back. And through that theme, and for a lot of us in this call who are, you know, ex-Startup Weekend or volunteers, social workers and whatnot, we've literally built our career, our social capital, and our network of friends through just helping first. And it has reaped crazy dividends and has made us to be who we are today. So an Impact Collective is doing that on steroids, like hardcore illegal drugs.
We're helping fast track that for you. You're on the fast track train to this kind of high value network that you have here. And I think just the last point I wanted to share on this kind of like why do we care about this so much and why is this so important is also coming back to the first point, is that our time is so precious, right? Like, how do we be strategic and proactive and prioritize where we put our energy? There's so many demands on you as a startup. You might be thinking, oh, you know, ecosystems, they're kind of on the periphery. I don't have to think about that so much. But we really think that like companies that think about their ecosystem and serve and support their ecosystem, like Aim was saying, are the ones that succeed the most as well, and find the most relevance and value in their community.
Awesome.
So we're going to use a tool to how to be proactive, strategic, understand what you really need, because crafting a good ask of what you can offer to your community is a key part of this, and how to prioritize key stakeholders as well. So that's what we hope you get out of the session today. And as usual, ask questions anytime. Cool.
Click.
Jump to the next slide, Martha. Thank you. Okay, so there are a ton of network mapping and stakeholder mapping exercises and frameworks. You'll find a bunch of them everywhere, and you've probably used many of them before. But Aim and I want to introduce something that was going to get your creative juices flowing a little bit more. We're going to step into a metaphorical canoe together, and we're going to basically map out in a creative way, think about our business, which is our canoe. Think about how we interact with our ecosystem and how to identify that ecosystem, which is your archipelago. This is usually an activity, and we're going to frame it in such a way that you can take away and do this with your teams. And I suggest you do this periodically. You're kind of reviewing where you are in the ecosystem. Remember, it's a very dynamic and changing dimension, this ecosystem. It can be thrown around depending on the global context. So you might want to do this at periodic times. But we're going to imagine ourselves in the canoe. Your startup is the canoe. Your island is your current sort of market or community you operate in, and your archipelago is the broader ecosystem. And today we're going to focus on two activities that we feel are most important. One is understanding what's in your canoe. What do you have as assets as a startup, and understanding also what's in the broader archipelago. So let's get started. Like, strap on your, I don't know, is it swimsuit? Is it like life jacket? Whatever it is, we're gonna jump into the canoe, and Aim is gonna take us on our first paddle.
Awesome. All right. So click. So a journey of 1,000 steps starts with a single paddle. And
next slide, Martha.
And paddle we go. All right, and we keep paddling. All right, next one. So love that we zoom in on a bigger. All right. Okay, yeah. So as you can see, the canoes are a very dangerous activity. So I guess we're gonna do quick workshop and breakout and figure out on some of these questions that, why you here. Obviously, you didn't need another accelerator. All of you are super networked in your life, but you decided to join Impact Collective. So something was in here intrinsically valuable that you're spending 2 entire days of your life with us. So why us? Why now? And that usually means that something is missing. You're missing some passenger on this canoe for you to succeed. Or you have too many of X and know why. Maybe you've got a lot of great, talented engineers, but no salespeople. Nobody to sell stuff to when you meet other canoers on the open sea. Whatever that is, be honest, be frank. And also, what do you have in abundance? What are the gifts that you have a lot of or too much of? For me, that would be lame jokes. So number 4 would be easily answered. And then where are you going to go in the short term and the long term? Obviously, you don't want us to, with Impact Collective, you're not just trying to swim in your own backyard, right? We're trying to see if we could help you grow in the region, to tap into the network to find your next market. But where of all the amazing places and the 4 regional anchors, Vietnam, Thailand, Singapore, North Asia and Korea. Where do you want to go, both short and long? So let's have a quick discussion. How would you like to do it, my fellow co-facilitator, Stephanie?
Let's, if we jump to the next slide, I'll share our template. We've prepared a template for you, and you can see in the guiding text, you can just pre-fill that text wherever you like. So this has the discussion questions that, or the prompt questions that Aim just shared. I'm gonna link this slide deck in the chat right now, so you can fill it in with your team. And my other co-pilot, Martha, is gonna put us into team breakout rooms. So that's why we needed your team names, so that we can put you into the right breakout room, and you can work on this activity with your team over the next 10-15 minutes. Doesn't have to be perfect. Remember, you'll get a copy of this as well to continue working on. If you're not here with your team to work on this together, that's okay. Just hang out with us in the main room, and we can work on it together.
Yeah. Almost like indirect OKRs, if you imagine it that way. So you're killing two birds with one stone. But all right, let's strap on your life jacket, and let's get on the boat.
Do it.
So some of you did not have your team names in your screen names, so I couldn't really assign you anywhere. Some I might have accidentally assigned to the wrong team. Hopefully that's
part of serendipity. That's fine.
Yeah, you can.
It's the magic.
You can come back into the main room if you want to be reassigned. Just let us know.
Or if you want to be assigned somewhere, I mean, I don't know.
You want to be
for the adventurous ones, just raise your hand, and we'll assign you on a random canoe.
Canoe roulette.
Same with experts and judges that are present here. If you want to go on a adventure, it's like Indiana Jones.
We were just talking about the computer game Amazon Trail, or the Inca Trail. Has anyone played it before? It's a 90s PC game, and it's fantastic.
The Inca Trail?
Yeah.
What was the...
what about the Oregon Trail? That was...
kind of a version of that.
But I think that was the 80s. I don't know.
Do we work on this ourselves as well, or is it going to be helpful?
Yeah, absolutely. It's helpful for any organization or any startup, and it's just a way of reframing how you map your ecosystem. There's a lot of ways to do it, but sometimes when we reflect on where we are first, it makes it easier to place ourselves within the ecosystem and what we want to ask. So definitely, you can even do it as an individual if you look at yourself as a actor in the ecosystem. Yeah, so feel free to do yourself.
I was supposed to set it up to send to room 24, and then I was the only one. I was wondering, this team working thing goes for the live share team, or is it like a random team I was supposed to wait in their room 24?
Yeah, I was sent to a room as well, and there's no one else there, so it's not came back.
Well, so unless your teammates, your actual teammates, like startup teammates are here, then yes, you were sent to a room solo, but you can come back here and do it together with everyone.
Oh, perfect.
Or you can bring in your teammates as well.
I'm going to hang out here then.
I'll hang out here.
Would the facilitator be able to check me in room 14? I was put in a solo room as well, but my team's in another room. That's okay.
Is that Georgia? Hold on, Georgia. I know where to put you.
Thank you.
I think so. Georgia and then Azella. Hold on.
Yes, thank you, Martha. I also just realized my team member has joined.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, while the Martha is doing that, why don't we just start working on our canoe? What do you guys think?
Do it. Why are you here? Why now?
Oh gosh, Georgia, where are you? I think Georgia left. Oh no.
No, I'm here.
Can I help you with the breakouts?
No, unfortunately, we may want to change that, but it's
Only
That's
one
okay. I'm
man
happy
do.
to be in this canoe as well.
Speaking of Canoe, it reminded me of Splash Mountain at Disneyland. So while I was talking, I was looking at Disney rides.
not distracted at all, were you?
No, not at all. And gifts. I was looking for a lot of gifts, and that's it.
Hey, Georgia, you're off, hopefully. And then,
Anyone else need to be zoomed into their breakout room? Otherwise, feel free to use this as solo working time.
Can you move me to group breakout group 17? I'm Annette.
Hi, Annette.
Annette,
Hi.
hold on, Annette. Annette, oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
Thank you.
I
Hi,
know,
Martha.
Adela,
You meant yes. Okay, thank you.
I did not forget about you. I'm just,
Okay,
So
take
if
your time.
I just saw your question here. Can you explain the too many and why question and also the abundance question? Sure. So this question leads on from question 2, where you are looking at what's missing in your canoe, or what are the resources that you're missing. So it could be resources, it could be partnership, it could be types of technical expertise. What are you missing that you need for success? Too many X and Y. So those are placeholders for, are there resources that you have a lot of or not enough of? So it's just another way to kind of rephrase that. Also to help you think about question 4 is what do you have in abundance? So it's a little bit related to those 2 questions. But feel free to answer it as you feel. They're really prompt questions to help you get thinking. And to brainstorm what it is that you have and what you don't have enough of, what you might be able to offer and what you might be able to seek from your community and your ecosystem.
But in this canoe thingy,
Mm-hmm.
the main problem that this boy have right now is that the jacket that guy is wearing is a buoyancy assistant, not a life jacket. Life jacket, they need a specific buoyancy, like fat buoyancy, to call it as a life jacket.
We're seriously lacking your technical expertise. This guy is not in a good situation.
Yeah, he is in danger right now, actually.
He is in danger. Definitely.
After 1 hour, he will lose the ability of his jacket and he's going to be in danger.
Oh no.
He also has too long of a paddle.
It is a bit long, isn't it? It's more like a stand-up paddle.
It's like a broom. Like he stole somebody's broom.
Hopefully he knows how to swim well.
And the safety hat will probably weigh him down and make him sink faster. So no.
It's a good point. I don't think he's going to get very far in the long term.
I think we need to complain to Pexels or Unsplash. Their vectors are not up to industry standards.
I do own helmets for whitewater rafting and kayaking. That might be what he has.
Oh, maybe he's getting ready for the rapids. Maybe that's what's in the short term, is that there's rocky water as he paddles towards the archipelago. What are you thinking?
Sure.
I remember going skydiving, and then the guy said, "Hey, put on the safety helmet." I'm like, "What use is it gonna have? You know, should not work, right?" So just make sure the parachute is working fine. I don't think I need the safety helmet. So
Yeah, that's interesting.
And then so we start with the canoe, and then we're gonna do the island, and we're gonna do ecosystem. Is that's the plan?
Yeah, I think we might pause on the island just because we don't have a huge amount of time. We'll bring folks together in a couple of minutes back in. We have enough time for the briefing, but yeah, we might just do the archipelago after this. What do you reckon, Aim? Should we bring people back in the next 2 minutes?
Yeah, I think it's about time.
I love this chat. We're also caring. We're really caring for this paddler out here. Elbow guards, knee guards. Sorry, Salma, are your team members here at SolShare? We'll make
No, it's just me.
Oh, just you? Then that's fine. You can hang out with us.
Oh, okay.
All of the solo, yeah, for folks who are flying solo and doing that.
Oh, okay. So it was breakouts for teams. I'm so confused. My Zoom completely froze and I couldn't do anything. And so I had to leave and come back in. I just had to shut down.
Zoom is not being nice to us today.
No, it was just being horrible. And yeah, I did have one question. Like, I'm really confused, like, about the team pitch schedule. Like, how do I get on the schedule?
I'll send you a link. Hold on. Later.
Okay. Yeah.
Or someone from my team will
Okay.
post it here in the chat.
Yeah.
So don't
No,
worry.
that's fine. Okay. All right. Great. Thank you.
Great.
Yeah, we will give you a briefing about what we're gonna do tomorrow at the end of this today's session. So if you have a question, then we will be happy to answer that later at the closing.
Okay, and Martha, you're bringing everyone in already? Did I see that earlier?
I am right now. They'll be back. They should be back.
Cool, I can see a lot of folks filling out your canoes.
Hey, so everyone is doing assignments in the room, is it?
Yes, so we're doing activities in the room. I will link you the slides if you haven't got it already.
Yeah, I have it. I'm already on the slides. Yeah.
Perfect, you're in the right place
So
then.
I was not knowing that they went to the different room. So.
Yeah, we went into breakout rooms based on teams, so it's just for the teams to work on it together.
Okay.
Unless you're very adventurous and you'd like to join another canoe, which is also a possibility. But you're in the right place. Folks should be returning back. Boom, 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 boom. Can see everyone coming back in.
Welcome back, folks.
Welcome back. I hope you stayed afloat. No capsizing yet? Awesome. Okay, so now we've got everyone back. Martha, I might ask you to jump over the next slide. So that was really a warm-up to understand where we are, what your current situation is right now in your canoe or within your startup and your team yourself. So next slide, Martha. So where are we now? So looking around, you're sitting in your canoe and looking around. This is the part of the mapping exercise where we're really gonna look at your environment or the local ecosystem around you? So what is the diversity of the local ecosystem around you, and what is the makeup of that? Next slide, Martha. Perfect, yeah. So we're gonna ask you to describe the chain of islands around you. What are some of the challenges in the archipelago around you? What do the parts of the landscape around you look like? And who are the actors in it? The last thing we'll ask you to consider, next slide, the next template, is now that you've identified some of these challenges, you might see in your business who presents certain challenges for you, but you might also be able to identify who might help you overcome those challenges. Who can you seek support from or shelter from? So thinking really creatively about the distinctions between different types of stakeholders. Not everyone is an ally, not everyone is a competitor. There's actually very different characteristics to these types of groups or actors that are in our network. So jumping over to the next slide. Great, so this is the next worksheet that you're gonna be working on. You'll see that it is already pre-populated in the form of a template in the slides that were shared with you earlier. So you're gonna go through these, it's almost like a lean canvas type thing, but you'll use these as prompt questions for you to think about who's in your broader archipelago. So first, natural resources. What do you offer to others in your ecosystem? What can you offer to others in your ecosystem? What do you have an abundance of? So reflecting on one of the questions you asked earlier in the Canoe. And what is your value proposition to other? What are you naturally abundant with or strong with that you can share with others? And next are dangers. What are the key risks, dangers, and disablers that you might face in your ecosystem? Third are trade partners. So this is one of the first distinct types of stakeholders that is really worth considering and mapping. So trade partners are your transactional partners. So they're the ones who keep you operating your product, service, or resource. So think about who are your trade partners. They might help you expand to markets or access new customers. Who are your allies? So who's there to actually support and protect you from potential dangers? These are partners that might support you in other ways, not in trade necessarily, but can be really strategic allies to keep close and nurture relationships with because they're really important. Who are the organizations that help you strengthen your impact? And then third, who are your enemies? So this is distinct. Competitors, opponents, problem makers. Be broad in your thinking of this. It's not always an organization or a person. Enemies can be other forms of threats as well. But who is it that undermines your ability to make an impact? And lastly, who are your tribes and citizens on this archipelago? So who are your beneficiaries? Who are you affected or influential bystanders? So these are folks that they might not be quite enemies or allies yet, but they have the ability to be your supporters. So thinking, this really links also back to some of the storytelling prompts that Jackie shared in the earlier workshop, if you were there, on impact storytelling. But like, who are these potential people who become your ambassadors and supporters of your work? So next slide.
Just to add though, sometimes the dangers is from within. Maybe you have a leaky canoe, you're running out of cash or about to go down. Maybe you have too much of a certain resource and it's weighing you down. You've got too many pineapples and you want more coconuts. Or maybe it's somebody on the boat who is actually causing trouble. You know, the danger is maybe the enemies are potential allies, somebody you could turn into a friend. And the allies are frenemies. They're large corporates that are working with you and might end up stealing your idea. So when I do this, and we did this at the Edmund Hillary Fellowship and many other networks, if we were going to use this as a team building exercise, make it fun, make it interactive, make it storytelling driven.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Aim. One is that stakeholders don't always fit into one binary definition. They can definitely coexist depending on context in these different areas. Two, be creative and have fun. This is really to help you stretch your creativity, to look at people differently in your ecosystem. Someone you may have considered simply, an enemy could actually be an ally. So we really want you to stretch your thinking. Use pictures. Usually when we do this with teams, we definitely, get messy, draw, and be as creative as you like. So if you do decide to take this with your teams and do it, keep that in mind. And with the next slide, you will again see a template that you can use. So just feel free to copy the next slide as a template. And you can fill this in as you need. Feel free to add links or any references there that might be helpful for you to include. And we will put you into your breakout Zoom rooms with your teams for another 15-minute interactive activity. But yeah, good luck, and let us know if you have any questions as well.
Rooms got opened. If anyone wants to get assigned to a room, let me know. Otherwise, you can still stay here and hang out with us.
I'm hanging out here. This is where the party's at.
Yeah, is any team that is Korean team? I would like to join them.
Okay, so I see two. I spy with my two little eyes.
Oh, can you name the team?
Nubi Lab and Dear Arch. And actually, maybe there's more. Hold on.
Life Care is Korean team 2.
Oh yeah.
And a lone team.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can put me with the mean so we can work on it together.
Okay, then I'll put you both in the random room. Hold on. Actually,
Yeah, I think pairing up, guys, if you are individual, if you want to work with the other team member, I think it will be a great opportunity to kind of getting to know each other. So ask Marta to join the team. You probably
both of you got assigned to a team, so you should be bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Min as well. Does anybody want to get paired with Ahmed from Xantric? He doesn't have any teammates, but would like to have someone to talk to, if I'm right. No?
Yeah, put me in. Oh, I don't mind.
By me, you mean yourself. Okay, Ahmed, you're going with... Hold on, I have to find you guys here. There you go. Ahmed, you're already assigned. Yusuf, I sent you to room number 13. And Ahmed is waiting for you there.
Yep. Feel free to just like randomly pair me up with anyone who may want to have a teammate or whatever. Happy to
Okay.
surprise me.
I will put you in room number 4. There you go.
Room 40, right?
Yep.
Okay, bye.
Oh, sorry, everybody. Hmm? Sorry, guys. I did not notice you.
For me, it's absolutely fine. I was anyway online from the mobile.
And Martha, I think we're almost at time to bring everyone back in as well when you get a moment.
Okay, I'm calling them back.
Perfect. Thank you.
Welcome back, folks. All right.
Martha, could you jump to the next slide?
So while we're waiting, have anybody uncovered any major rock formations? Any hidden icebergs that have punched a hole in your canoe? Any warring tribes that try to sink your little boat? Or steal your best paddler? So please enlighten us. What's some of the fun stuff you've uncovered in the exercise? Welcome back. Welcome back.
There are too many islands.
Ah, where did you land, Amit? Which paradise?
I landed a very nice paradise with a very nice person, and I really enjoyed that.
Well, that's part of the perks of joining programs. Your canoe might sink and it might not go anywhere, but you end up finding the love of your life or a new home.
Yeah, that might occur. Who knows?
Who knows?
And any other reflections? Anyone want to share what was in their canoe? What did you learn you had abundance of or less of? And it's a good chance to also share and voice some of that with this group while we might be able to trade resources. Who knows? Did you seek shelter anywhere? Did you come across any treasure?
I think by participating this Impact Collective and asking a question to myself and to my coworkers about those, like, where should we go or what should we, like, what's the point that we have to concentrate, was one of the shelter that we can go in and take our time to think about our future.
Nice. It gives us space for that kind of reflection and good time together on the canoe in the open water. Nice and peaceful. Space to reflect.
Have anybody got hit by any typhoon? I know COVID is the mother of all storm. Yeah, but any second waves or other storms in your horizons?
Well, I was going to say, ironically, it was actually probably conversations about COVID in which we were seeking shelter in the conversations before, but yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to know that we're all in this together. Oh, I hate that line, but yeah, unfortunately, I said it.
I think what I've learned is that with my company, that the work that we do is that we engage doctors and connect them to people in need of healthcare using telemedicine. And I just realized that I have a huge abundance of doctors, but they're not being utilized to their full potential. And that's what we have to work on. So as a company, we have a mobile app. And with that mobile app, we have a retail version where people can go Google it, download it from the Play Store, and access services. We also have a corporate version where corporations can provide the service to their employees and pay on behalf of the employees. So the interesting thing is we have got around 42 corporates on board. We even have some of the leading banks within Pakistan who are on board. So, for example, there's another bank which is called HBL. It's like one of the leading Pakistani banks. And Sehat Kahani is embedded within their app as well. but then the consumption is low. And I think that's my biggest challenge right now. That even, for example, for a corporate that I'm talking about, it has 12,000 lives, and all of those people are getting this service free. Their employer is paying for them, but still they don't use it to their full potential. I think what I'm trying to figure out is why is that, and how can I maximize that usage? Because when I talk about that doctor who's sitting online, for them they want patients. They're hungry for having more and more patients, and in order for me to keep them excited about being on this platform, they need to be able to see patients. I think that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Thank you so much for sharing. And I think it's interesting. These what we find as abundance can also become strategic, questions and opportunities for us as well. And the more we share them also, the more that we might be able to identify opportunities we don't. There's actually, it reminds me of a partnership story that emerged between a friend of mine who runs a microfinance or micro lending platform for women in rural Indonesia. And they have an incredible network of women micro entrepreneurs, and an unlikely partnership that emerged with Essilor. Essilor is the maker of lenses and glasses. And they had an abundance of their materials and their glasses, but they didn't have the means and the connections to deploy within these rural communities. And that's actually what this startup had an abundance of. They had those relationships. And so what came together was actually something that leveraged what both of them had abundance, but also met the needs and gaps that they both had in terms of networks and resources. So it's interesting. The more we voice this, the more strategic opportunities can also emerge.
Stephanie, is that startup called Amartha?
That's it. Yeah.
Right. Cool. Yeah. So interesting enough, we had something similar happen to us too. For a start, we thought we'll be helping those individual street food vendors who are isolated and not integrated into the economy. But when we broaden our scope further, partly because COVID forced us to, we realized that we were essentially offering a turnkey solution for social organizations to power their social impact program, right? Where they had beneficiaries who wanted to start micro businesses, but these organizations weren't in the best place to do it themselves, so they were outsourcing that to potential solution providers, and we were like shortlisted as one of them. So yeah, never really know where your partners might be actually.
Never know, exactly. And unlikely allies, like I think sometimes we blind ourselves to the opportunities sometimes, but it's always worth making the ask. And I think the last slide we wanted to end on, and I guess to wrap this session, thank you everyone for sharing back and participating so fully, is that building a culture of asking and offering is one of the most powerful things you can do as a community. And Eamon, I want to challenge you to his point earlier of giving first. Every time that you make one ask from this community or you're asking for support, challenge yourself to also offer two things back. And it'll be incredible to see that culture of reciprocity and generosity actually shared in this community. And you'll be really surprised at what will emerge. And you'll see this as a common theme as you go through the journey in Impact Collective, that this is really about the heart and soul of collective impact. It's asking openly, authentically, and also offering generously so we can help support each other. Any last words, Aim, before we step out of the canoe?
No, I think keep paddling. That's all I can say. But just don't have all your paddlers on one side, because then the canoe will go round and round in circles. But I think, if there's anything left unsaid, I think it's about now. You've learned so much over today, and there's just so many tools and tips and tricks and so many people. So I want everybody to take what they've heard and got exposed to, sit on it, think on it, see which ones you could use and apply to your team, and just